All right, so we're solving quadratics by factoring. So when you have a quadratic in this form, a standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, basically we've learned how to factor this part here. Well, we set it equal to 0. When you have two things that multiply together and give you 0, one of them has to be 0. So we're going to look and see what that looks like as far as solving. So I'm going to solve this here. And so I need to find factors of negative 32 that get me to 14. So 16 and 2, positive 16, negative 2. So I have x plus 16, x minus 2. So these two things multiplied together gave you 0. So one of them, either x plus 16 has to be equal to 0, or x minus 2 has to be equal to 0. Now I can go through and solve for x. X is equal to negative 16, or x is equal to 2. So those are your two answers. So two things multiplied together get you to 0. Then you set each one of those things equal to 0 and solve for it. Example here, notice that I don't have 0 on one side, but you have 40, or negative 40 actually. I have to have 0 on that side. So to get 0 on that side, I have to add 40 to both sides. So you've got to make sure that you have that. So I have x squared plus 13x plus 40 is equal to 0. So now I'm going to find factors of 40 that get me to 13. So I have x plus 8 and x plus 5. Those two multiply together get me to 0. So either x plus 8 is equal to 0 or x plus 5 is equal to 0. Then I'm going to solve for x. So x is either equal to negative 8 or x is equal to negative 5. So both of these actually are your answers. So don't just write one or the other. Both of them have to be included in your answer. You'll notice here that my coefficient in front of x squared or my a is not 1. So I'm going to have to do the box method to be able to factor that. All right, so I am going to come over here to the box method. And so I'm finding factors of 6 that get me to 5, which would be 2 and 3. Greatest common factor for each one. And so I end up with 3x plus 1 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So now each one of those is set to 0. So 3x plus 1 is equal to 0, or 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Solve. So it's a little bit more involved solving this way. And so x is equal to negative 1/3, or you can solve here. And so x is equal to negative 1/2. All right, so last example here. Hopefully you can see here that there's a greatest common factor of 3. Factor that out. So I factor that out with 3. So I have 4x squared minus 12x plus 5 is equal to 0. So now I can find factors of 20 that get me to 12. Negative 10x and negative 2x. So we find greatest common factors here, 2x and 5, and then 2x and 1. Both of those have to be subtraction. And so I'm with 3 times 2x minus 5, and then 2x minus 1. All that's equal to 0. One of these things has to be equal to 0 here. So I'm going to have 2x minus 5 is equal to 0, or 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Kind of where this 3 drops off a little bit, because it's 3 is multiplied by something, 0 is going to give you 0 anyways. So then I'm left with, I'll solve for x here. And then I get x is equal to 5 halves. So let's see here. X is equal to 5 halves. Or you add 1. And 2x is equal to 1, so divide by 2. X is equal to 1/2. All that would be the answer for 4. So main concept here is that you've got to make sure that you set each factor equal to 0 and solve for there. And because two things multiply together that give you 0, one of those things has to be 0. If one of them is 0 or both of them are 0, then the whole thing is going to be 0. All right, that's what I have for you solving by factoring.